So what's up, guys? Once again, Houston Walker, new to YouTube, new to HVAC. Last week I made a video asking if anybody would want to see videos. I didn't get any response, but it's cool, no problem. Got a couple views, but wife and kids ain't home, so I figured, what the hell, I'll make a video now. Wrapping up my sixth or seventh week in the trade now at the local company that I'm at. So far, I love it. I'm learning a lot. I figured I'd go over in this video, what got me into the trade, what made me want to go the HVAC route. So yeah. So I graduated high school in 2008. So that puts me I'm 29 now. I'll be 30 shortly, but right now I'm 29, so getting started kind of late. But I guess it's never too late to start. So I graduated high school in 2008. Started working at a factory. I actually learned how to weld at that factory. Enjoyed it. Worked there for 2 years, and then found out I was going to get laid off. So I found another job doing woodworking at a pallet place. Made pallets, skids, crates, all kinds of stuff. Made some pretty big stuff. Like, we weren't just like a pallet company. We weren't just recycling pallets. We were making, some pretty cool stuff. It was hard labor, which I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with hard labor at all. But going back to the factory job, so I started welding there, and that was kind of like my first taste of a trade, I guess you could say. It wasn't like I didn't get a Ohio State certification or anything. It was in-house certification, and it was just MIG welding. So I don't want to say it's easy, but I mean, it kind of came easy to me. I like working with my hands, and it was fun for me welding. Flipping the hood down and seeing the red line that you're making with your bead. So it was fun, but like I said, 2 years in, I was going to get laid off, so I quit. Started working at the wood place. That wasn't really a trade per se. It was just kind of manual labor. We got jigs and dies and stuff to set our wood or whatever it was that we were building. Put it in something and just build it, nail guns and stuff like that. I did that for about 2 years. Realized I wasn't going to go anywhere in the company, so I joined the Air Force. Joined the Air Force. I went in. I wanted to. Man, it's my dog. There. It's my dog. She's 11 years old. But anyways, joined the Air Force. I wanted to do combat control. A lot of people don't know. A lot of civilian guys and a lot of military people don't know what combat control is. It's, I guess you could say it's special forces in the Air Force. The Air Force has special forces, combat control, PJ, TACP, special operations, weather. And there's a couple others, but I just can't remember. So I wanted to go that route, and then it didn't work out. I got DQ'd pretty much because of my vision. So I got reclassed into what they call 2T2 is air transportation. It's logistics. It's kind of like the FedEx or the UPS of the Air Force. and also we did passenger service. So when you go to the airport and you get put on an aircraft, that was part of the job. But the biggest part that I was involved in was doing logistics of the aircraft, loading heavy cargo. I loaded a tank while I was in, a couple helicopters, and then big. They call them ISU 90s. It's just really a big metal box that military units store their stuff in, and they fit into the aircraft really good because the layout of the aircraft is, or the ISU the ISU 90 is built for the layout of the aircraft, so it just goes on and locks into place, and that's pretty much all you had to do to secure it in the aircraft. And then building like baggage pallets, like just putting like your passenger baggage on a pallet and then netting it up, make sure it doesn't fly around while you're in the air. Registered mail and stuff. So yeah, just kind of cargo for an aircraft. Big aircraft, C-17 was most common. Did a couple C-5s, a couple C-130s, which is my favorite aircraft, cargo aircraft. My favorite aircraft in the Air Force, or in the military, I guess you could say, is the A-10, the A-10 Warthog. It's a pretty badass aircraft. If you want, go look it up. It's pretty cool. F-22 is pretty badass too. But yeah, so I did active duty for 6 years. So I joined when I was 22 or 23. Did 6 years active duty, and I just got to a point to where I didn't really move up in rank. I only made it to senior airman in 6 years. I tested for staff. For all you guys, military guys, I tested for staff sergeant, and I didn't make it. First time I really didn't care. The second time I tried, but I really wasn't hard pressed to make staff sergeant. But being a senior airman, I did have a lot of responsibility. I mean, most senior airmen in the Air Force do get responsibility. They're pretty much a staff sergeant without the rank and pay. So I was put in kind of like a supervisory role, doing paperwork, a lot of paperwork, and sitting at a computer, which it's not for me. I mean, granted, I'm sitting in front of a computer / iPad right now, but this is my free time. I'm only doing this for maybe 15 minutes a day. So, and I'm getting some shit off my chest. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's weird. But anyway, so yeah, I did that for 6 years, and then I about my 4th year in, I started thinking about getting out and what I was gonna do. And in the back of my mind, I had always wanted a trade. The way I was raised, though, my parents really didn't push me towards a trade. I think it was because my dad wasn't a tradesman. My mom didn't know much about the trades, anyways, so they didn't know the whole world of tradesmen, anyways, of doing a skilled trade. So they didn't really push me into it. Like, they never suggested that I go to like a tech school, like a career development center or whatever while I was in high school. It was never even brought up. They wanted me to go to college. And I did for a little bit. Like when I was working at the factory for the 2 years, I went to college, but it was a fire academy. There in Dayton, Sinclair Community College has a pretty good fire academy. So I went through that, and that just didn't pan out. Maybe if I keep doing this, you guys will find out why I didn't become a firefighter. But so yeah, since I was in high school, being a tradesman has been kind of like in the back of my head, but I just never got really forced or pushed in that direction. So I went in the Air Force, and then about 4 years in the Air Force, I started thinking about getting out and what I was going to do. So the 6 year, my 6 year mark came, I had found that I had realized that I had an opportunity to it's called Palace Chase. Um, it's where you can get out of active duty and transition in the reserves, no day off. Like the day you get off active duty is the day you start reserves. So I started in the reserves here in Ohio. I'm stationed. Well, I'm not stationed, but I do my weekends at Wright Pat Air Force Base here in Ohio, Dayton, Ohio. And when I did that, when I switched from active duty to the reserves, I was able to cross train. So I switched jobs. I changed my career in the Air Force, and I picked HVAC because in the back of my head, I'd always wanted a trade. I've been watching Mike Rowe. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who Mike Rowe is. You know, he's all for, you know, tradesmen, skilled trade. He's not against college, I don't think, but I think he pushes trades more than he does college, and I think he pushes college after you get your trade to just become a better businessman, just a better person, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so cross-trained into HVAC. But the thing is, when you cross-train and when you get out of active duty, you've got to wait for a tech school slot. So I waited almost a year to get my HVAC tech school. And in that year, I had three different jobs. The first 3 months of me being out of the military, I was a corrections officer, and it was cool. I learned a lot, like, about people, just talking to people, interacting with people. But I realized that was not for me. Corrections officers, man, they go through a lot of shit for shit pay. I've got a lot of respect for those guys now. You know, you never really think about them. And then I did that work for 3 months, and I realized, you know, those guys, that's a stressful job. That's a 12-hour day of shit. Very rarely is it an easy day. Very rarely do you go a day without getting in some kind of confrontation. I got along with the inmates in there just fine, but I was a corrections officer. I was the authority in there, and when you take a guy, and trust me, don't get me wrong, I don't judge nobody. Like the inmates would be like, man, you're pretty cool. Why don't you judge us? I don't get paid enough to judge you guys. You know what I mean? But when you take a guy that can't follow the rules in the society and you put him in a cage like a fucking animal, it don't get any better. And you expect them to follow those stricter rules, it sucks. Like, for those guys, I mean, some of them belong in there, but some of them, you know, they're just good guys. They just got caught up in the wrong shit at the wrong time. And so I needed to get out. So I'm kind of a negative, pessimistic kind of guy to begin with, and being locked in a building, you don't see daylight for 12 hours. It's a very negative environment. Those guys don't like you. You don't, honestly, I didn't like, it was my job. I knew what I had to do, but I didn't like, you know, fucking getting in those guys' ass and telling them that they need to clean up their cell, or that we was doing a shakedown. That shit sucked. That's their own that's where they live, and I'm sitting there throwing their shit around. It sucks. I mean, they're in there for a reason. I get that, but you know, you get to know some of those guys, and it's like, fuck, man. You know, you had a fork on the road. You picked the wrong fork, and now you're stuck in here. It's kind of shitty situations. But anyway, so yeah, I did that for 3 months. Then I drove a forklift for 3 months at a local company here. I'm a badass forklift driver. I learned how to drive a forklift in the Air Force, and I became really fucking good at driving a forklift. And I was making damn good money just driving a forklift on a truck dock. So freight that goes on semi trucks, that's all it was. I was driving 10 hours a day on a forklift, picking up boxes, putting them in a semi trailer. That work environment was also fucking horrible. Too many druggies out there driving forklifts up and down the docks, going 25, 30 mile an hour, because those forklifts were pretty quick. And I wasn't trying to get run over by a forklift. I'm not going out that way. I'm going out in like blazing fucking glory if I'm going to go out. So I got out of that, just bad work environment. And then I got another job working for another local factory, makes gearboxes. Super good company. Super clean environment, stress-free job, but you do the same fucking thing every day. I couldn't do it. So then I finally got my tech school. Went to tech school for the Air Force, HVAC tech school in Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas. It's a fun place. I like Texas. But yeah, I went to tech school, man, and like 2 weeks out of tech school, got the job where I'm at now, local residential HVAC company. I'm an installer. And yeah, man, that's how I got into the trade. I know there's different stories out there, different reasons guys got into the trade, but I've always kind of wanted to be a tradesman. So I fucking hopped on it, and now I'm in it. 6 weeks, still loving it. Granted, I know I'm still green. It's only 6 weeks. That's short compared to a lot of you guys. But yeah, man, I'm learning every day. Try to ask the right questions. Try to have a good attitude. In 6 weeks, I think I've only had one bad day. Just a job. It was an install job. It was just one of those jobs where it actually looked straightforward walking up on it. It was just a furnace job. Like no coil, no outdoor unit, no disconnect. All we had to do, the hardest part of it, well, we thought the hardest part of it was going to be running the flue pipes because it was an 80 to a 90. Yeah, the job was horrible. Just the furnace. I was at work for like 12 hours. It was horrible. But besides that, man, every day, man, I learn. I just learn. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's how I got into HVAC. Really long video on telling you why I got into HVAC. Hopefully I get some views. Maybe you guys are interested in seeing a new guy come in the field, seeing what he thinks. But hell yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get some views on this, and I'll keep making more videos. My next video I think is going to be my experiences so far. This was kind of just like my opening into HVAC. In my next video, I'll tell how my first probably 2 months have been. But hell yeah, guys, have a good weekend. Watch some college football. Drink some beer. I don't drink IPA shit. I don't drink microbrew shit. I drink 100% domestic. But all right, fellas, be safe out there. If you're on call, sorry, man. You'll get through it. That's more money. But hell yeah. See you guys.